The next shloka says, Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So he says, literal translation of this is rather misleading. Literally, if we want to translate, then it says, Na tad bhasayate suryaha, there is one particular place, the sun cannot illumine that place, na shashankaha, the moon cannot illumine that place, na pavakaha, the fire cannot illumine that place, yad gatvana nivartante, that is the place where you go and then you will never come back, you will not come back, tad dhama paramam mama, that supreme place is mine. So this is such a misleading or rather very primitive understanding of the shloka. So that is why we need the commentators in order to understand. Otherwise, if we just see the English translation means only just what I said. I stay in a particular place where if you reach there is no returning, and then the sun doesn't illumine, the moon doesn't illumine, the fire doesn't illumine. So that is what it is. So what does it mean? It doesn't mean that there is a place. And when in Gita, whenever Krishna says my, I or mine, he is talking as the spokesperson of the Supreme Reality. He is speaking as the Supreme Reality. So that is what we have to see. Tadhama paramam mama means there is no such, he is not referring to a place such as some Vaikuntha or some Ksherasagaram or something like a say Kailasam or some such thing. He is only referring to that level of understanding. Tad dhama paramam mama. And in Vedanta the general rule is gatyarthaka, that is going means understanding. Ye gatyarthakaha te jnanarthakaha. There is one general rule in Vedanta. Tadhama paramam mama, that is yad gatvana nivartante, yad gatva. The meaning of gatva is having gone, but here the meaning is having realized that particular thing, having realized that Brahman, they do not come back. Where? Come back to again the identification with the body-mind complex. So that is what it means. So that what does the first line mean? Na tad bhasayate suryaha. Where is the why this Surya is brought in, and then moon is brought in, and then fire is brought in? Surya is supposed to be the Adhisthana Devata or the presiding deity for the eye. That means the Indriya, the sense organ. When there is a reference to one sense organ, that the sense organs cannot reach it, it also it includes all other sense organs. When you are referring to one particular sense organ, it also includes other sense organs. That is, the sense organs do not understand it. Then moon is supposed to be the presiding deity for the mind. And then the mind, the senses do not understand, the mind also cannot reach there. And then na pavakaha, fire is supposed to be the presiding deity for walk, the speech. So the speech cannot reach it. So yato vacho nivartante, it is said, that is the speech, you can't describe that supreme reality by words. And then you can't see it, you can't get it by the mind, and then understand it by the mind. Then that particular reality is actually the thing behind all these things and illuminating all these things. In fact, the sun or the moon or the fire, that means the indriyas, the mind and the walk, they are illumined by that supreme reality called that supreme consciousness. So that is what we have to see here. Yadgatvana nivartante, that is having, if you realize, if you come to that level of realization, there is no question of relapsing into our own ignorance. So ignorant identification with the body-mind complex. Then he says, the next shloka, Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha manashrashtani indriyani prakrutisthani karshati. So he is telling about the nature of the jiva. Of course, we have seen it earlier also. Krishna is saying in slightly different words. He is saying in the earlier also we have seen in the 7th chapter and also in the 9th chapter. He said, he made certain statements where he said, this jiva, what you call jiva, is not different from me. So that is what he said. Mamaivamsho jivaloke, jiva bhuta sanatanaha, whatever you call it as jiva. And this jiva is also the sanatana. Sanatana means something which is always there, something which is eternal, this jiva which is not going to die. That is what we saw in 2nd chapter also. That is, najayate mriyate va kadashit. It has no birth, it has no death, it is of the nature of consciousness. So that is what we said, we saw. So, Sanatana is the meaning of it means that Sanatana does not mean ancient. We have to again remember, Sanatana does not mean something which is old, something which is ancient. Sanatana means something which is eternal. So, this Jiva, as you call it, it is something which is eternal, and it is like my own Amsha. It is Amsha does not mean a part. So, if you take Akasha, if you take the space, the example given here is that of a space, and you take so many receptacles. Suppose you have 100 pots kept somewhere, and in 100 pots there is space. Even when the pot is there, there is space. Even when the pot is not there, there is space. When the pot is broken also, there is space. So, it is as though that space is delimited by that pot. Suppose you say that Jiva is also that same reality, that is that consciousness which is there, which is the Brahman, but which is delimited by the body mind complex. So, that is what it is. Mamaivamsho Jivaloka. This body mind complex is something which is called a delimiting factor. In Sanskrit we call it an upadhi. The delimiting factor is this body mind complex. And then manashrashtani indriyani prakrutisthani karshati. It is Jiva is something which is called an individuated consciousness. In fact, some philosophers, some Vedanta writers, they use this word called individuated consciousness, which means the pure consciousness in which there is no sense of ego. It develops a sense of ego, it develops a sense of I, and then from this Prakriti, it gets the Indriyas, it acquires the Indriyas. According to the Indriyas, it acquires the body mind complex. So, that is what it is. So, the body mind complex is something which is attained by this ego sense of this consciousness. So, that is what Krishna says here. And then the next shloka is a continuation. Shariram yada vapnoti yachapyutkramatishvaraha gruhitvaitani sanyati vayur gandhani vashayat. So, he says this Jiva is something which is eternal, and then this body mind complex is something like a baggage which he has accumulated because of the sense of ego. This individuated consciousness has attained a body mind complex, and this body mind complex and all the activities and all the karmas also produce the vasanas, we know. And all that karma and karma phala etc. is like a baggage. All that baggage he takes from one life to another life, another life to another life, etc., etc., so long as he remains unrealized. This Jiva or this delimited consciousness which is identifying with the body mind complex is something which is transmigrating from the body to body to body. So, that is what it means. So, what we call Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira, we have come across this word earlier several times. It is also called Linga Sharira. Linga Sharira means the body mind and the body mind complex, not the body, leaving the body, the prana, and also the senses, sense organs, and the mind, and also the past karma, etc. This is like a baggage. Jiva is, strictly speaking, Jiva is totally unconnected. Jiva is pure consciousness, but it is identifying with this whole baggage. So, it is as though he takes this whole thing from one place to another, just as wind carries fragrance of a flower from one place to another place. So, he gives the example of Gruhitvaitani Sanyati Vayuhu Gandhani Vashayat. There is a flower bud, from that flower bud the wind carries the fragrance from one place to another place. So, we will continue in this thing. It has to be slightly explained. We will continue in the next episode. Harihi Om Tat Sat.